Hi, this is Dr. John Schinnerer with Guide to Self and a brief presentation on how can I get rid of anxiety. Number 2. In my last video, I went over some anxiety statistics. In this video, I'm going to go over the various types of anxiety disorders. So, what are the types of anxiety? Well, let me go over that very briefly. The first type is panic attack, and this is a sudden jolt of intense anxiety, worry, fear, or terror with physical symptoms such as tightness in your chest, difficulty breathing, perspiration, irregular heartbeat, tightness in your throat, dry mouth, difficulty breathing, and racing thoughts such as, oh my God, I'm dying, I'm having a heart attack, I'm going crazy, I'm losing my mind, I can't handle this. Any of those thoughts tend to come up in a panic attack. And if you think of the intensity of a panic attack or the intensity of anxiety, a panic attack is like a 10 on a 10-point scale. It's very, very intense. The second type is panic disorder, and this is ongoing panic attacks which occur suddenly and without an apparent cause. And this tends to create a lot of anticipatory worry about future panic attacks. It's very unpleasant. This often leads to agoraphobia, which is avoiding the outside world and just staying in your house or your apartment. A third type of anxiety is specific phobias. So this is anxiety and fear due to a specific object or situation. Some examples include spiders, public speaking, heights, bridges. I was kind of amused to read a list of some of the most common types of fears in the United States, one of which was zombies, which don't really exist. On the other hand, they don't need to. These are irrational fears. Another one which always used to crack me up was the fear of clowns, until I saw Stephen King's It, and then I realized why they're so scary. A fourth type is social phobia, and this is high anxiety due to certain social situations or performing in front of a group. This also involves intense anxiety when you perceive yourself as being judged by someone in a position of power over you, such as a policeman, a doctor, a professor, or a boss. So if this applies to you, realize that your blood pressure is very likely to spike at the doctor's office. So be sure to check your blood pressure at home to verify the readings across different settings before you agree to any blood pressure medications. Very important. I used to go into my doctor's office, and for a while he said, yeah, you've got high blood pressure, take these medications. And only later did I realize I've got social phobia. I need to be checking my blood pressure on my own when I'm calm at home. And turned out my blood pressure was fine. A fifth type is obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. This involves ongoing disturbing thoughts, which are obsessions, and or repetitive behaviors, the compulsions, that are meant to reduce anxiety. The symptoms have to last longer than 1 hour per day and lead to noticeable distress and or impact your normal daily functioning for it to qualify as OCD. Another type is acute stress disorder, and this occurs when you have severe anxiety for up to a month after a traumatic event. And that traumatic event could be something about being in war, it could be being in a car accident, it could be being robbed or raped. There's a number of different types of traumatic events that can trigger this. Another type is post-traumatic stress disorder, and this is intrusive and disturbing thoughts, sleep difficulties, social isolation, hypervigilance, in other words, being overly watchful for threats or frequently on guard. It also includes irritability and anger and other common anxiety symptoms following a traumatic event and lasting for more than a month. There's also generalized anxiety disorder, which is a high degree of anxiety and worry about a number of things on most days lasting over 6 months. And you're likely to have physical symptoms with generalized anxiety disorder as well. This is also known as GAD or GAD. Then I also want you to be aware of that there's certain medical conditions that can appear or mimic anxiety. So a major reason for scheduling a visit to your doctor when dealing with anxiety is that you want to rule out these conditions. And these include things like thyroid disease, steroid treatment, asthma, or respiratory disease. So whenever you're dealing with anxiety, very important to go schedule an appointment with your doctor and check these things out. And then finally, there's substance-induced anxiety. There's a number of substances that can mimic anxiety. Medications, drugs, caffeine, energy drinks, all can produce anxiety-like symptoms, including panic attacks, rapid heartbeat, perspiration, obsessions, compulsions, and paranoia. So again, check with your doctor to look into possible connections to rule these in or out. When I have clients that are dealing with anxiety, one of the first steps is eliminating drugs, caffeine, energy drinks, caffeinated sodas, simply to see what's the effect that this is having on your body. Is this a trigger for you? In my third video, I will go over some steps that you can take to turn down the volume on anxiety. Until then, this is Dr. John, signing off.